back here on Open as we are continuing our conversation, bringing you information and news with regards to COVID-19, how New York City is adjusting, and how people in their elected districts are really dealing with. We've heard from some senators, assembly people, and we continue that conversation right here. Our guest now joining us is from the 31st senatorial district here in New York City, and that would be State Senator Robert Jackson. And Senator Jackson, good to have you. I'll start off with talking about your district. It's pretty big, it's pretty expansive. And so when we look at your district, why don't you tell us about where your district actually covers?
So my district is from parts of Marble Hill. It goes down into Inwood, Washington Heights, Hamilton Heights, West Harlem, all the way down to Upper West Side, Midtown, to the Chelsea area, 20 to 26th Street and Ninth Avenue, a total of 13 miles in my district in Manhattan. But
Yeah.
the majority of people that I represent are basically along the west side of Manhattan and basically all of Washington Heights, Inwood, and half of Marble Hill.
You got a lot of ground to cover. And in addition to having a lot of ground to cover, you've got a lot of constituents to really deal with. And constituents' needs can be different between Manhattan and the Bronx. But talk to us about what you're hearing with boots on the ground in your particular district with regards to just navigating this whole COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, navigating it obviously is is easier for individuals that are younger and more computer savvy. Obviously, the older you get, and if you're not in tune with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all of the other social medias, it's a little more difficult. So, like all of us had to get used to Zooming and other platforms in order to see each other and communicate with each other. But overall, the most important thing what we try to do is we send out electronic updates about once a week, updating constituents that are a part of our electronic network, what's going on. And besides that, every like 2 months or so, we are sending our newsletter, which should be going out in about a week, to all of the people in the district that are registered voters.
Mhm.
So that's our formal communication network. But besides that, obviously, we have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all of the social media things to stay up in tune. That's important. But besides that, we have what we call mutual aid in the 31st Senatorial District, Mutual Aid NYC. So we're the only elected public officials office, to the best of my knowledge, in the state of New York that has established a mutual aid 31st Senatorial District, which basically in that mutual aid, we have about 200 pod leaders. In which, what are these pod leaders? These are individuals that have volunteered during this pandemic to help neighbors helping neighbors.
Mm.
If you need me to go to the grocery store, if you need me to go to the pharmacy, if you need me to go to the bank on your behalf, if you need for us to do your laundry because you can't do it, these are the things, basically neighbors helping neighbors. And that's extremely important. So we have about 200 in our senatorial district, about 50 in Inwood and Marble Hill, 50 in North Washington Heights, 50 in South Washington Heights, and 50 the rest of the district going south. And that's what is very, very important, where you actually have hands-on. But besides that, we have our normal operations as a Senate office. And what do I mean by that? Obviously, we're not in the office. We haven't been in the office in over a month.
Right.
But if you call the office, one of my staff members in our community affairs office will answer the phone. So you're not getting an answer machine that, I'm sorry, we're not in the office, leave a message, we get back to you. The only way that it won't be answered if the actual community affairs office is on the phone with someone. So during the hours, basically of 9 to 5, it's answered just like if you came and walked into the office, which is
Yeah.
very important.
And let me ask a question here because I know your phone has to be ringing with regards to those who are really struggling with the area of rent and looking for some rent relief. What can you tell your constituents? Because this is a huge problem for a lot of New Yorkers, and I know particularly in your senatorial district.
Well, when you raise one of the largest issues that is being dealt with right now, as far as phone calls that are coming into the office, obviously, one that's really on top of the list is unemployment insurance. Where's my check? Uh,
Right.
because if you don't get your money, you can't pay your rent, you can't eat, and all the other things. So that's one of the major things that we're dealing with, which is unemployment insurance and food insecurity, and also as far as rent. And obviously, there was by some individuals May 1st, obviously Workers' Day around the world. There were rent strikes at certain locations, but we are really focusing in on legislative actions in order to have a moratorium on rent. There are several individuals, my colleagues, both uh, uh, Mike Giornaris, who introduced the bill. You have Salazar introduced a bill. I've introduced bills. So there are quite a number of bills in order to give rent relief to our constituents. But not only our constituents as far as renters, but also homeowners also. So there's a lot of things that we're working on. And in fact, I am a member along with Jessica Ramos and other state senators that are part of the housing uh, COVID 19 work group. And we're discussing all of these aspects so that we can make our work group recommendation to the entire full New York State conference, the Democratic conference, that is, that's 40 of us. There is another work group, which is the revenue work group, looking at how to raise revenues, and they will make recommendations to the full conference, the Democratic conference. And so that's what we're doing in order to address the issues and concerns of our constituents regarding rent and raising revenue.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for giving us the update. And certainly, our Bronxites are excited to know that there's some boots on the ground in terms of relief and a listening ear. So, thank you so much, Senator Jackson, for sharing with us out of the 31st Senatorial District, our guest here on Open. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All righty, Senator Robert Jackson.
Peace
Listen,
and love.
peace and love to you too, brother. All right, listen, take a quick break. We got more shows. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.